I can tell you I've talked to a few people who've been standing out here looking at what you can't help but look at. You can see there is a man in a yellow outfit who is hanging from a harness on the side of this BB&T building. Now, this is the Forsyth side, and one gentleman tells me that he's been there for at least 30 minutes. He's hearing that some type of scaffolding broke. Right now, we have several crews on the scene. I have been keeping an eye up there, and for a while it was just the man in the yellow hanging from the side of the building, but I have in the last 30 seconds or so seen people what appear to be towards the top of the building, likely either someone with JSO or JFRD rescue crews trying to safely get this man back inside the building. I want to bring you back down to the ground level so you can just see what the scene looks like and just how many fire and rescue crews as well as JSO crews we have here. They have the area blocked off.
Just a quick question. You mentioned that the scaffolding had broke. It's kind of hard to see from our angle there, but is that the scaffolding kind of hanging down that's next to him?
Yes, so I am actually having to look on our camera at the zoomed in angle, which you're looking at as well, because it is very difficult to see. It's very high up. This is a very tall building downtown. But yes, it appears what you mentioned too would be the right of this man in the yellow appears to be the scaffolding. We
do have Randy Wise, who is on the phone joining us now. Randy, I imagine you're looking at the same scene that we are. Can you tell us what is happening there and what do you know about this high angle rescue?
Obviously, yeah, I mean, you had an unbelievable quick response. Our special operations team is at Station 4 at Duval and Jefferson, so they're able to get there very quickly. And as you see now, they've got one firefighter to them, another one over the wall, and they're probably working on the haul system on the roof. They've secured a good anchor point, and they'll start to hopefully pull those the firefighter and the worker up in just a minute.
Hanging at that angle for 30 minutes it's got to be harrowing. But I mean, can you talk to me about the training that your firefighters go through to perform this kind of high angle rescue? This is a specialized operation.
It is highly specialized. They go over this stuff every day, hundreds of hours every year, recertifying and any new techniques. So this is basically what you train for as a firefighter in the special operations. When you have these sort of incidents. It's actually that happens on almost a fairly regular basis, but that has occurred before. I remember a couple of years ago we had the same incidents at the jail, and some of these same firefighters are the ones that got them up. So you can see now they're starting to haul them up. They use a pretty sophisticated system on the roof to be able to haul up that much weight at one time. The haul system, basically you have to haul up as far as you can, and then you lock them in and you reset it so you can get more pull. So there's probably not enough room on the roof to be able to pull him up in one pull. So they're having to reset the system, and then they'll start pulling again, and it may actually take another reset before they can actually get him up over the edge. So you got the firefighter there watching to make sure he's safe. He was down with the patient, made sure that he was secure. I'm sure he snapped another line in, one of our lines, our ropes that we know are good, and so he's got a double safety on him. And again, they're just working hard to get him up. I know it's probably frustrating for that guy.
What kind of concerns do you have for him and, maintaining consciousness? Is there a possibility that the circulation might begin to get cut off in certain parts of his body by this harness? Yeah,
I mean, his legs may get a little bit numb, but in reality, he's not been in that harness long. I mean, that was an unbelievable response time to be able to get the equipment on the roof quickly and then be able to have it set up within 30 minutes. That's miraculous. I mean, those guys did a great job. So, it's getting uncomfortable. It'll start pulling on the groin area in the back, and your lower back may start to hurt. But in reality, losing consciousness or anything like that, there's no real pressure on any position that would cause him to go unconscious. Again, just a little uncomfortable. But, you had the safety harness on, and it did what it was supposed to do. It saved him from falling 17 floors. So the equipment's working.
Randy, also, I also want to mention to our viewers, Sky 4 is flying right now. You can see a bird's eye view of what is happening. But Randy, if you could talk about, there's an entire crew of people that are also on that roof making this happen. Talk about that.
Oh, yeah, you'll have probably 10 people on the roof rigging the haul system, And basically, if you see there, you actually you have 2 rescues going on at the same time. You have one worker that's still on the scaffolding, and you have one that's free hanging. So basically, what you've got up there is 2 systems working, and so you've got the whole special operations team up there. You can see them a little bit farther back. All those firefighters there, they're actually going to do the pulling. It's sometimes a 5-to-1 ratio haul system to where it doesn't take as much pulling to pull a 200-pound man up. But as you see there, for every one, you have 2 firefighters hanging off the edge. You'll probably have 20 firefighters up there working on the systems and the safety and all those pieces of it. So it's truly a team effort, and these firefighters train every day together, so they know exactly what their jobs are, and true professionalism and what they're doing and their quick response.
Randy, we thank you for sticking with us and kind of walking us through what we're watching here. What is the worker doing now when he's pulling that rope? He's pulling that rope every few minutes.
Yeah, a little uncertain about what that is. That looks like maybe one of their ropes, so I'm not certain where that goes and what he's doing. Obviously, the worker you have on the scaffolding there, he's in a much more comfortable position, let's say. So you can see them, both teams working. That's really a great shot there that you got. That really shows how intensive this is, and the people that you need to be able to pull off a rescue like that. You actually have crews standing downtown. There's rescue units with the stretchers up top, waiting for them to get pulled over the top, that they'll be able to assess them and see if they need to be transported to the hospital. You got crews downstairs. You have incident commander downstairs, and again, our special operations chief up top running the whole operation.
Randy, it is breathtaking, though. Even though the man on the left is secure as they are rescuing him, you still have the other person on the right. Has he been officially secured yet and being rescued, or are they still trying to get him in a harness and secure, from what you can see?
Well, yeah, it's hard to see from that angle, but if the gentleman on the left had a harness, then I'm assuming the gentleman on the right also had one. Once that firefighter got into them, he's immediately snapping a safety line into his harness. So that way we know that he's secure and he can't fall anymore. Their rigging is set up differently than ours, so we're maybe a little unfamiliar in how their systems are set up. So we immediately go to the systems that we use, and they have a safety line on him. So it's just a matter of getting him secured, getting the haul system set up on the man on the right, and they'll both be coming up here very shortly.
In your experience, what has typically been the reason for a scaffolding? Obviously, we don't know why this scaffold is broken, but this has happened before. Just maintenance, or just wire breaking, or?
Sure. I mean, it could be as simple as some of their equipment failing. It is kind of a windy day. I live on the 12th floor. We've been out on the balcony watching, and it's pretty windy out there. So just the wind sometimes does happen. So it could be anything from again, probably just an equipment failure on their part.
How far up would you say he is?
I believe that building is about 17 story or 18 stories. So he's at least 160, 170 feet up in the air.
Randy, talk about this. I'm assuming at some point you've rappelled or experienced something similar to this. Talk about how vulnerable you are that high up.
Well, I will tell you, I'm sure the worker feels a little bit vulnerable to that firefighter, because the firefighter knows that his brothers and sisters are up above making sure that everything is done exactly perfect, that all the safety systems are in place. Again, there's a chief there making sure that it's all going like it's supposed to. So, it's in the Special Operations Division, I don't know who the 2 firefighters that are over there yet, but I promise you, on that roof, they were probably fighting to see who gets to go over the edge. I mean, this is what they train for in these type situations. So, but the guy that went over the edge is not any more important than all those 20 or 30 firefighters up there. There you can see on the right-hand side the haul system. You can see them pulling, 6 or 7 firefighters pulling. So what they'll do, they'll pull all the way to the edge of the building, stop, reset, go back, and pull again. So you can see the man on the left is starting to they're starting to come up, firefighters going over the edge. So, wow, that's really impressive. They're running a double haul system on one rescue. I mean, in one situation with two victims. So that's a real attribute to their training and the equipment that they have.
Randy, what do you think they are saying to those people who are dangling? I mean, just giving them instructions as to pull now.
Sure. Really just talking to them, trying to ease their mind, use a little levity in that type of situation. So, again, I'm sure they're scared to death. But, talking to them, just tell them, hey, man, we got you. Don't worry, we're going to get you up. And so it's you can see the man on the right there is.
Yeah, he's coming up, and we're also seeing those firefighters above him who are actually pulling him up, and then one is in succession is running to the front of the line, huh?
Yeah, you can see him actually using the haul system. So you got Maguilar there on the edge, making sure they're coming up. So they're getting close to solving this problem. So it looks like a great job. We'll reserve that until they get them over the edge, but they're pretty close to succeeding and saving these two.
Is there any danger on the ground? Anyone for scaffolding falling?
Yeah, some of that equipment, who knows really how it failed and what it might be. So our brothers in blue at JSO, they've obviously got everything secured below, making sure everybody stayed back. We do have lobby control. They put a crew inside immediately to get lobby control, where they maintain the doors, make sure nobody gets out, maintain use of the elevators so we can get our crews, get our equipment crews up there. So there you go, one of them coming over the edge.
Sigh of relief. We're all watching here on Channel 4, live from Sky Forest. Two firefighters rescuing two men who were cleaning the windows and their scaffolding broke. An amazing response there within 30 minutes. This is done to textbook, right, Randy?
Oh, this unbelievable response by the special operations team. I mean, this is, to be able to get up 20 some odd floors that quickly and be able to get a system in place. This is a real attribute of the training and the professionalism of these firefighters that, this is what they live for. This is, obviously they'll debrief after this and figure out if there's any things that could have been done better. But obviously success to get those two workers up without any injuries, maybe a little more that they have. Obviously they look okay. They're standing there. They're talking to them. So they must be in good shape.
And I'm sure that they're glad to no longer be dangling off the side of that building and can stand on their own 2 feet. Yeah. But then also, as you mentioned, there's a very large team that is up there, Randy, that was working to make this happen. Do you think they did it in a considerably fast amount of time? And you see them now hugging some of the firefighters as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's great response in the aspect of getting up there and getting that system set up and getting a firefighter down to them immediately. Really quick, getting a firefighter there, just making sure that the patient is okay physically, and then obviously just, supporting until they can get the haul system set up. But you've got some of our most experienced firefighters there and well-trained firefighters there, so I would have expected nothing less out of that group that's on shift today.
Randy Wise, we certainly do appreciate you joining us and kind of walking us through this process. Everyone very happy to see that these two workers are safe this afternoon. We do want to go now live to our very own Kent Justice is on the ground. Kent, from the air, from our view from Sky 4, we even heard people cheering as soon as they set feet on the roof.
Probably would have been 5 minutes. They train for combat rescue. Right. They train for combat rescue. 5 minutes.
Kent, can you hear me?
5 minutes, but you have to take the military.
Kent may not
Yeah, I
hear
sure
us.
can.
Okay, can hear us
Kent,
now.
we heard some applause then. Just talk to us about what's happening on the ground.
So, Tarek, I think you have just come to me, and if that's the case, yeah, here on the ground, where in just the last few moments as you were watching that rescue happen, a big cheer from the people who are here on the ground, and most of them have, been chronicling this with their cameras or what have you, but that big cheer, and then a lot of people looking at each other like, I can't believe what I just saw. Been chatting with some folks here who were amazed at it, and then questions to each other. How did that happen? Who are those people up on the roof? Hey, isn't that JFRD? So a lot of those questions are happening down here. Some of the answers are just really speculation at this point, but unanimous verdict. They were very impressed that they were able to rescue that person from the side of a skyscraper like that, a building that far up. I'm also talking to someone over here who says, hey, in their military background, they did training to rappel. And basically, their version of events here, hey, so lucky that person took the right safety precautions and was harnessed in, or their life would have been lost falling from that far up. Obviously, those are some OSHA requirements on being, it's mandatory that you have to harness in and whatever, but there's a great example of why that makes such a difference.
And
Tarek, Janice?
Kent, we're looking right now on the roof. The workers are still up there. One person walked up, one of the workers who was just rescued, looked over the ledge, almost in disbelief at what just happened to him. And I was just looking at the account for JFRD. You know, they put information out on social media about this rescue just 30 minutes ago.
Wow.
And we were just watching these two men as their scaffolding had failed them, being rescued by JFRD, and now they are sitting there probably in shock. They can't believe this, as they were literally dangling 17 stories in the sky, and now they are rescued. They are okay.
Yeah, I imagine there are a number of things that JFRD now has to do to kind of review what they have done,
Yes.
you know, to make sure all the safety procedures were followed, to find out how this happened, to continue their investigation and make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. But you see that those two men in yellow,
Yes.
one has gone to the one's walking out, one's headed back in, but both of them breathing a huge sigh of relief, probably getting on the cell phone saying, hey, honey.
I'm alive.
Let me tell you what happened at work today.
Yes, and even and hugging.
Yeah.
Hugging
Yeah.
some of the crew.
Yeah, appreciation there.
We continue to follow local breaking news in downtown. This is video from our Sky 4 helicopter just moments ago when Jacksonville firefighters rescued two people dangling from the side of the BB&T building. We've been showing you the rescue for the past 30 minutes. It was incredible, breathtaking. A number of Jacksonville fire rescue workers on the roof of the building to make sure that this rescue went smoothly.
The BB&T Bank building is on Forsyth Street, right next to the Skyway. We're told the men were 17 stories up. Kent Justice is joining us now live from downtown with more. Kent?
And Tom and Mary, I wasn't counting how many stories, but 17 stories high. Those two men rescued here just in the last less than 10 minutes. There were a lot of people here ground level who had gathered, were watching, and were pointing up there to see what was happening, because obviously as we look at it, you can see the structure there from looks like they were probably doing window washing or that sort of thing, where one side is dangling. That's where, as we've shown you live coverage in our video, where one of the workers was had been trapped because he fell off of that, was kind of clinging to the side of the building there. But yeah, JFRD doing the job, and in that 30-minute process or so, rescuing those two people. And as we show you some of our helicopter video there from above, I'm talking with Ronald Jones, and you were one of the folks who were standing here watching. There were dozens of other people, but you've got some insight here because of your military background in rappelling. What did you see? And obviously, I think everybody's agreed, wow, so glad those two people were rescued.
Yeah, well, basically what I saw was JFRD probably had the special operations team come out. And what he did was the guy rappelled down to the guy that was hanging against the building. He took his harness and he had another apparatus that he hooked to the guy's harness and hooked together. And then the guys up top, they have a winch. And they just, and then they just wind him up, and that pulls both of them up on top.
And it did take a little bit of time, but you're saying that makes sense to you from your experience, right?
Yeah, from my experience, it takes a while because this is not, I was in the military and we did rappelling. In a combat situation, they'll do it a lot faster.
Sure.
But this is, this is a different situation. We're in a civilian, and a guy's life is at stake. Yeah. So, you got all day. You want to get it right and take your time. Yeah, so that's what they done.
And Ronald Jones, I appreciate it. Of course, you're the guy dangling there, and you're thinking, I don't have all day. Get to me as fast as possible. But amazing to see this, and obviously on a day when there's a holiday and not every employee who works downtown is around, the people who were out here, it was just gripping to them. Couldn't take your eyes off the side of the building and what was going on there. Successful rescue of two workers here in downtown Jacksonville. Tom and Mary, back to you.